Welcome to the Lantern Hour. Tonight, I'll take you up a long grassy hill, under a clear and starry sky, to a small old observatory, a little white tower with a wooden dome, where a telescope watches the night by clockwork, and one amber window will be lit for you. First, we'll take a few quiet minutes to settle in with the lamplight body scan. Then we'll climb the hill together. And when the story ends, the soft night wind and the slow tick of the old clockwork will stay with you until morning. And if there's somewhere the lantern should travel next, you can leave it in a comment before you settle in. But for now, there is nothing more for you to do tonight, and nowhere at all you need to be. Make yourself comfortable and let your eyes close whenever they are ready. Imagine for a moment that your body is a quiet house at the end of the evening, and that in every room of it, a small warm lamp is still burning. We're going to walk through that house together now, slowly, and turn the lamps down one by one, the way a keeper does before bed. Begin down in your feet. There's a little lamp burning there, and you can turn it down now. Feel your feet grow dim and warm and heavy, done with standing, done with carrying, finished for the day. Now the lamps in your legs. Turn them down slowly and feel your legs settle into the bed, long and loose and heavy, like drawn curtains. The lamp in the small of your back, turn it low and feel that whole tired room go soft and dark and comfortable at last. The lamp in your belly, where the day's worries like to sit up late, turn it down. Let the room empty. Whatever was in there can find its own way home. The lamps in your hands now, those busy little rooms. Dim them both and let your hands lie open on the blanket, warm and idle, off duty until morning. The lamps along your shoulders and up the back of your neck. Turn them down slowly, one by one, and feel everything they were holding up agree at last to be set down. The small lamp in your jaw. Off. The lamps behind your face, so it can grow smooth and quiet in the dark. Down and down. Until only one lamp is left, the little one behind your eyes. And you don't put that one out. You just turn it low and lower still, until it is nothing but a single point of warm amber light in the darkness. And look, there it is. Far ahead of you and a little above you, on the shoulder of a dark hill under the stars, one small amber window lit and waiting. And you are on the path that leads up to it. It is a clear, dry night at the very end of summer, and you are walking up a long chalk path through high grass, with the last blue of the evening fading out of the western sky. The air is cool and clean, and smells of dry grass and warm earth cooling. That good hilltop smell of a fine day going quietly to bed. The night wind moves up here the way it always does on high open ground, softly, steadily, combing through the long grass on either side of the path with a sound like the world breathing out. Below and behind you, in the valley, the village is settling for the night. You can see it when you glance back, a little handful of warm windows scattered along a dark lane, a church tower, a farmyard lamp, all of it small enough now to fit in your two cupped hands. Even as you watch, one of the windows blinks out. Somebody down there has finished their day and gone up to bed and left the night to mind itself. Which is exactly what the night does best. Above you, the stars are arriving, not all at once, but the way an audience arrives, in ones and twos, taking their old familiar seats. And at the top of the path, standing alone on the crown of the hill, is the observatory, a small, round, whitewashed tower, no taller than a windmill, wearing its wooden dome like a good felt hat, with one amber window glowing low down by its blue-painted door. The whole dome is dark and quiet against the stars. It doesn't shine, and it doesn't sweep, and it doesn't signal anything to anyone. It only watches, patiently, all night, every night. And tonight it is expecting you. Pinned to the blue door with a brass drawing pin fluttering just a little at its corner in the hill wind, there is a note written in a fine old-fashioned hand. It says, "Gone down to the village for the night. The sky is all yours. The kettle's filled. The stove is banked, and the bed is made up in the alcove. Wind the clock before you sleep if you would. It keeps better time with company. E." You smile and lift the latch and step inside, and the door closes behind you with the soft, seated sound of a door that has been closing well for 100 years. And the wind stays outside on the hill, combing the long grass under the stars, and you are here, inside, in the lamplight, with nowhere to be. The room inside is round and small, and it may be one of the most comfortable rooms you have ever stood in. The walls are lined all the way around their curve with bookshelves, atlases of the sky, old-bound journals, charts rolled up like scrolls and stacked like firewood. And the shelves lean in slightly, following the tower, so the whole room seems to be gathered around you like a coat. An oil lamp with a green glass shade burns low on a round table, and beside it lie the astronomer's things, all at rest. A pair of spectacles, folded, a pencil worn to half its length, an open notebook, its last line trailing off midway, as if even the working day up here ends gently, without a full stop. In the corner, the little iron stove is banked low, just as the note promised. No flames, only a deep, quiet warmth that has soaked all evening into the stones and the shelves and the air, and will go on breathing softly till morning. And in the middle of the room, rising up through the ceiling into the dome above, stands the pillar of the great telescope, and bolted to the pillar's side in a case of glass and old mahogany, the clockwork that drives it. You cross the room to look, the floorboards giving one warm creak under you, the way old floors say good evening. Behind the glass, a family of brass gears sits meshed together, perfectly still and perfectly ready, and a small pendulum waits, and a fat brass weight hangs on its chain at the very bottom of its run. The clock has been faithful all day, and now it has run gently down at last, and it is waiting politely for you. You open the little glass door and take hold of the smooth, worn handle of the winding key, the same place where 100 years of hands have held it, all of them now long asleep, and you wind slowly. Click and click and click, the weight rising smooth on its chain, the sound unhurried and deeply satisfying, like winding up a very old and very kind heart. And when it reaches the top, you close the glass door and touch the pendulum once, gently. And the clock begins. Tick. And tock. Slow and low and even. The most patient sound in the world. From now until morning, that little clock will turn the great telescope above you, hair's breadth by hair's breadth, keeping perfect pace with the turning sky, so that nothing up there is ever lost and nobody, anywhere, has to hold on. The wind goes on breathing around the tower, out on the dark hill, and you are here, inside, beside the warm lamp with nowhere to be. You take the little candle lamp from its hook at the foot of the stairs and climb the 8 curving steps to the dome room with a thick grey blanket from the alcove over your arm. Up here, the great telescope stands waiting in the dark, long and patient on its pillar, aimed at the closed shutter of the dome, like something loyal waiting at a door. You take hold of the smooth wooden handle on the shutter's rope, and you draw it back slowly, and high above you the dome opens a long, narrow window onto the night, and the night comes quietly in. Not the wind, the dome's shoulder keeps the wind out, and you hear it go on breathing around the outside of the tower, soft and steady, a sound with no edges at all. What comes in is the sky itself, a tall, deep wedge of it, blue-black and endless, crowded with stars from side to side, more stars than you have seen in years, the near bright ones and the far faint ones, and behind them all, the long pale mist of the Milky Way, spilled across the dark like flour across a slate. And the telescope on its own ever so slightly begins to turn. You can't see it move, any more than you can see the stars move. But the clock ticks below and the gears lean their teeth together, and the great glass eye keeps its place among the constellations, exactly, calmly, all night long. It doesn't need you to help. It doesn't need you to check. It has done this 10,000 nights, and it would very much like you to sit down. So you do. There is an observing chair up here, half deck chair, half armchair, built long ago out of oak and canvas, worn into deep comfort by a century of patient sitters. And you settle into it with the blanket tucked around you, warm to the chin, and your candle lamp turned down to a bead beside you. The wind moves around the dome. The clock ticks below. The cold, clear night stays outside on the hill where it belongs, and you are here, inside, under wool, with nowhere to be. And you watch. Not the way you watch a screen, or a road, or a kettle. Nothing here needs watching. You watch the way you watch clouds cross a summer sky, easily and without purpose, letting it pour slowly in. Through the open slit of the dome, the stars slide past, so slowly that at first you'd swear they were fixed. But settle back and give it time, and there, a bright star you'd anchored to the edge of the opening has drifted ever so gently across it. The whole sky is turning, has been turning all along, all your life, every night you ever slept. One vast, silent, frictionless wheel, so smooth that no one on Earth has ever heard it. The plough hangs in the north, tipped on its handle, exactly where the farmers and the shepherds and the wagoners have always found it. A satellite crosses a single unhurried spark, taking its full minute to go, in no more of a rush than anything else tonight. Once, at the very edge of the opening, a shooting star lets go. A short, bright stroke, there and gone. And the sky closes calmly over the place where it was and carries on, missing nothing. 10,000 years those stars have been climbing this same hill of sky and never once needed anyone awake to see them over it. All the watchers of all the centuries, the shepherds on their hillsides, the drovers on their green roads, the astronomers in their little cold towers, every one of them, sooner or later, nodded off. And the stars never minded. The stars came round again the next night, and the next, faithful as the dawn, asking nothing. They don't need you to watch them either. They only need what the clock gives them, company, and the clock is giving it tick and tock, warm and steady in the room below your feet. Down in the valley, when you turn your head to the one small low window in the dome room wall, the last of the village is going out, 2 lit windows now. Then one. Then none. The whole village dark and done, tucked under its roofs, asleep beneath the same slow wheel of stars. The hill holds the little tower. The tower holds the little room. The blanket holds you. And the night wind moves around the dome, on and on, smooth and soft and endless. And you are here, inside, warm, with nowhere to be. Your eyes are growing heavy now, in the good way, and the chair has done all it can for you. It is time for a proper bed. You ease the shutter rope back through your hands, and the dome draws its window slowly closed. Not quite all the way. You leave a hand's width of it open, the way the astronomer surely does, so that a single ribbon of starlight can lie across the floor all night, and the telescope can go on quietly about its work. You gather the blanket and carry your bead of candlelight down the 8 curving steps, past the clockwork in its glass case, tick and tock, the weight riding high and easy on its chain, hours and hours of faithfulness left in it, and the green-shaded lamp on the round table, which you turned down now to the softest glow, just enough to keep the titles of the old atlases legible on their shelves. And there, on the far side of the round room, set into the curve of the wall like a box bed in an old farmhouse, the alcove bed is waiting, a deep wooden nook with a curtain half drawn, a thick mattress, plain cool sheets, and a quilt as heavy and honest as the hill itself. You climb in and pull the quilt up to your shoulder, and the alcove gathers you the way the room gathers the lamplight, closely and kindly, with walls on three sides and the whole quiet tower around that. The stove breathes its low warmth from the corner. The clock ticks on its pillar. The wind goes on, combing the long grass, out there on the dark hill, under all those patient stars, and you are here, inside, in the deepest corner of the warmth, with nowhere to be. You lie still and let your whole body grow heavy in the dark. Your feet grow heavy and rest. Your legs grow heavy and rest. Your hands lie easy on the quilt, and your shoulders sink down, soft and slow, into the mattress, and your face grows smooth and quiet in the last of the lamp glow. And you just listen. The clock on its pillar, tick and tock, a slow old heart, pleased with its work, keeping pace with the whole sky, and never once hurrying to do it. The wind around the tower, rising a little, easing a little, rounder than any wind down in the valley ever sounds, because up here there is nothing for it to knock against, only the smooth shoulder of the dome, which it strokes and forgets and strokes again. Now and then, the dome eases its old timbers with one small wooden creak, the tower turning over in its sleep, and settles again. And under both of those, so soft you feel it more than hear it, the deep settled quiet of the hill itself, holding everything up without the least effort, the tower, the telescope, the bed, and you. Above the ceiling, the great glass eye goes on following the stars, hair's breadth by hair's breadth, missing nothing, needing nothing. The ribbon of starlight lies across the floorboards and moves too slowly to be caught moving. Everything that is supposed to be turning is turning. Everything that is supposed to be still is still. And nothing, not the sky, not the clock, not the wind, not the sleeping village far below, nothing anywhere is waiting on you. The quilt has warmed through now to exactly the warmth of you, so that you can hardly tell any more where you end and the warm bed begins. Each tick of the clock lands a little further away than the last. Each breath of wind around the dome carries a little more of the day off with it, out over the dark grass, and does not bring it back. The lamp is down to a glow. The stove is warm in its corner. The clock ticks, slow and sure. Tick. And talk. The most patient sound in the world. You don't follow the sounds anymore. They come to you instead. The wind around the dome. soft and round and endless. The stars turning their great wheel, silent, faithful, old. The village is asleep. The hill is asleep. The whole valley is asleep under the stars. The telescope keeps its watch. The clock keeps its time. Nothing is yours to keep tonight. Let your thoughts drift up and thin out, like the last warmth from the stove. Let the sky turn without you. It knows the way. You are held. You are warm. You can sleep now. Good night. The stars keep their own watch tonight, and you can rest. The sky turns slowly all night long, without any help from you. The clock is wound, and it will not run down before morning. The wind stays outside on the hill, and the warmth stays in here with you. The village below is asleep, and the night is minding it kindly. Everything that watches is watching. Everything that rests is resting. You have wound the clock and closed the door and done everything the night asked. Morning will come up the valley on its own. It does not need your help. There is nothing to follow and nothing to finish and nothing to hold. The stars don't need you to watch them. The stars keep their own watch tonight. And you can rest.